Welcome to the City Commission meeting, Tuesday, June 3rd. Would you please call the group to order?
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Opelt,
Here.
Commissioner Motta,
Here.
Commissioner Minton.
Here.
Mayor, we have 3 commissioners present. The quorum, we have 5 commissioners present. The quorum of 3 is met.
I'm sorry, only half present. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We just have one proclamation tonight. Would the people from Juneteenth please join me? Thank you. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in the Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas Emancipation Day observations are held on different days in different states in the South and Southwest and in other parts of the nation, Juneteenth has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for 160 years. And whereas this is the 4th year that Juneteenth will be celebrated as a federal holiday, this year on Thursday, June 19th, 2025. And whereas this marked the 37th year that Juneteenth has been celebrated in Manhattan, and whereas the theme of this year's Juneteenth celebration is Our World, Our Truth, and after years of unprecedented challenges in our nation, state, and city, this is an opportunity to come together as a community, regardless of age, color, disability, ethnicity, familial status, gender, national origin, race, religious belief, gender identity, or sexual orientation, to learn about the importance of this day. Now, therefore, I, Karen McCullough, Mayor of the City of Manhattan, do hereby declare Thursday, June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth in the City of Manhattan, and I urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and city, and to join in our celebration and activities June 13th and 14th, 2025. Welcome. Would you like to tell us what's going to happen?
Hello, I'm Betty O, and on Friday, June 13th, starts at 5:30. We're going to have a grilling contest. So that is something everyone in this room, I think we all have in common, which is food, music, and sports. Pick one, pick two, pick all 3. So that's going to be happening. 5, the grilling contest, and then there's going to be prize giveaways. There's going to be Mr. Curtis Pitts that's going to give us some information and knowledge on Juneteenth, that he's going to go a little deeper, so we'll know that it is a celebration of African Americans' freedom. But the blanket is everyone in this room and everyone outside of this room that has made this country what it is. We've all have a piece of the pie, and we've all contributed. So we want everyone in the community to tell your family, friends, come out, have a great time, someone new you can meet, someone you've been living next door to for 100 years, and this is your opportunity just to say hello. So please come out. We're having a R&B funk band, Heat Wave. They started in London, England. So it's going to be some old hits that you might not know, but we're going to let you know what it is. We're going to do boots on the ground, so bring your fans, bring your whistles. Your whistles is a tradition in the Black community that when the party is in full force and you're sweating and you know you got your best dance move going, you blow that whistle, because we know that the party is in full effect. So please come out and have a great time. And on Saturday, it's going to be at the historical community over off of Yuma. Some people have been in this community, I've heard, for 30 years and never been over there. Come over. It's not just our community, it's your community. Come over, have a good time. I'm looking at everybody's face in here, so I'm gonna be looking for you to make sure you come out and have a great time. Bring your family and friends.
So the Friday evening thing is at the park?
Yep,
At City Park. At City Park. And then the Saturday thing is at the Douglas Center?
Yes.
And there is a march?
There's gonna be the Unity Walk?
Yeah, Unity Walk? Yeah.
Unity Walk, the Unity Walk will start at 10:30. Well, we'll get together at 10. There'll be
Okay.
some preliminaries, and then the walk will be from Longs Park down to the Douglas Activity Center, where we will have a speaker give some highlights about some things in history. We'll have some food, of course, got to have some food. And then there'll be the Freedom Ride train for the young people, and we will have some activities, vendors booths. So come out and support on Saturday. Oh, and if you like to work out, Mixed Fit will start in the morning. We'll have some Mixed Fit going on and some other kind of exercise. There will be some Latin dancing and a lot of other things going on.
Sounds wonderful.
Anything else you want to add?
Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, and also, Miss Diane Caldwell, she started Juneteenth here, then it went to Mr. Donnie Slater, and then it went to Dave Baker, and it's continuing on. So it's people that have made a difference in our community.
Yes, it has. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Oops. This is a legislative meeting, so the next thing on our agenda are public comments on any issue that you'd like to make comments on. Please come up.
First of all, my name's Tim Weisbender. I'm the Vice President of the Tuttle Creek Lake Association, which is a nonprofit organization for the enhancement and preservation of the Blue River Valley. And we've partnered with the City of Manhattan for 31 years to bring our youth into the joy of fishing and recreation on the water. We've had a wonderful partnership with the city. We're grateful for all their support, for the places for us to have our classes and places for us to meet. And so with that being said, I'd like to bring you up to speed on where we are at. Now, I joined 11 years ago, and at that time, there was hundreds of fish caught on Saturday morning at this clinic. And last year, or should I say 5 years ago, there was still hundreds, but it was like 150 instead of in the hundreds. We actually put 700 fish in there the Wednesday before our clinic starts. So we know there's fish in there, but each year it has been dwindling. And I've been in touch with the powers that be, and obviously it doesn't register or something's not happening. We had 100 kids out there Saturday with their parents, and we had 700 catfish in the lake. And would anyone like to take a guess at how many fish were caught? 3. 3 fish. I was ashamed. It's a disgrace to have something like that happen. We spent hundreds of hours, thousands of dollars to put this thing on every year. And to have that happen, I was mad, and then I was ashamed. So I don't know what's going to happen to this. It's been going on 31 years, but I don't see how it can continue with what we have. We've been in contact with some commercial pond people that have graciously, we've paid them to come to town to take a look at the lake to see what they can do. And so, I mean, it's just progressively gotten worse to the point to where, you know, I don't know what to do. So I just wanted you, well, my 3 minutes is up, so
Yeah.
I appreciate your time and your ear. So if there's anything that you can do to help us out, you know, I would hate to see this go away,
Yeah.
because it's just one of those things that not every city has that, and we have the opportunity to get the kids off the couch and away from their devices and their blue screens.
And we
And-
do appreciate what you've done here. And I've asked about this, and I'll follow up. So let's see if we can't make your next year a more satisfactory outcome.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
hopefully we don't bring it back to the city pool,
Okay.
because that's where it started. And 31 years ago, we put fish in the city pool in September.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on an issue which is not on the agenda? Seeing none, are there any commissioner comments?
I have several.
Okay, great.
First, I would like to commend Commissioner Oppelt, who worked very diligently throughout this weekend to try to find housing for some of the students who were being displaced with the closure of Job Corps. We initially thought there were going to be a very large number. There were still 10 individuals that needed housing and support, and Peter did a great job of facilitating that. I'd also like to acknowledge the opening or the reopening of one of our newest parks last week. Schultz Park up on Miller Parkway was opened with new playground equipment and improved parking area and some other amenities. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge the Museum of Art and Light, which recently won a global prize. They were in a competition put on by the WXO Experience, which had hundreds of entries, whittled down to 26 finalists, and there were 5 winners across the globe. And Museum of Art and Light won the Experiential Technology of the Year prize. So we should be pleased that that recognition is coming to our community. Thank you.
Nothing. Yeah, Susan's absolutely right about Peter doing a great job and everybody doing a great job this weekend. It's very unfortunate. Some of the information that was put out was that cost was $155,000 per student, and of course, these numbers were coming from during COVID, so who knows how many students and how many, I think there's been so many kids who've gone through there, and not only they've gone on to do better things, but they've helped Manhattan. They've helped us with putting cement and concrete down places. They've helped us with building things. So we'll have to hope that Senator Moran can do something about straightening this out. I spent this afternoon, not in the rain for change, with the sculpture at Poyntz and Juliet in front of the Landmark Bank. And it's really wonderful, and it's a partnership of the Deal Foundation money for Arts and Humanities and the bank, the Landmark Bank. And when you drive by, it's really very, very nice. Have you seen it? I mean, it's well worth seeing, and it's got a Greek name, which escapes me. But drive by and take a look at it. There's going to be a lot more light and signage that goes up, but it's up now, and it looks very good. Okay, consent
Susan,
agenda.
I just
Oh.
want to say thanks for the shout out.
Oh, sorry, Pete.
All I did was get the right people in the room together, and those members of our community who already are doing hard work for our community members they really kind of took the ball and ran with it. And then I had a lot of other people just from social media and things like that reach out and offer help, and it really made me proud of Manhattan this weekend just to hear the response that we had. So if you're not familiar with Job Corps, please look into it and look at the mission that they have and the programs that they run. They really are trying to help make a difference in these young kids' lives, and it's a really important program. So I just encourage everyone to research what Job Corps does, and please contact a congressional delegation and ask them to please do what they can to help save the program.
Thank you, Peter. Just one more thing about the park that we opened. Jamie and I were there. The park staff did a great job of making it very nice and having there were quite a few people there, and they had food. It was super. And it was Tim Schultz was there, and we really could thank him for all the things he's done, and the park has been named in honor of his father, Roger. Both Roger and Tim have helped with the Manhattan Area Housing Partnership, building a lot of units in Manhattan, and they've been really good to work with. And I think this kind of public-private partnership is something we really do need to encourage. As I said, the sculpture was a public-private endowed sculpture, and so, I know that the Park and Recs Department is looking at the naming opportunities for some things, and that's a great idea. And you get your name out there on a fun sport, and people think highly of you, and we really appreciate it. So, the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are those of routine and housekeeping nature. Does anyone want to make a comment from the public on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Do the commissioners have anything that they'd like to add or ask? Okay, I entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you call the roll, please, Brenda?
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Opelt,
Peter?
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Minton,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the general agenda. There's an item to consider a development agreement for public infrastructure improvements for the Hartford Project at 700 Poyntz Avenue. Stephanie will shepherd us through.
I will. That is not the right one. Good evening, Commissioners. Stephanie Peterson, Director of Community Development. This evening, your only general agenda item is for consideration of a development agreement for public infrastructure improvements along Poyntz Avenue, 8th Street, and Houston Street for the Hartford building. Also, part of your motion is to authorize city staff to execute a restrictive covenant for the maintenance of some landscaping and hardscaping that I'll walk us through. This item came before you both in October and in December, so we've talked about it several times now. This is kind of the last phase for you all to take action on. What we have for you is a development agreement that outlines the city's participation in public improvements, as I mentioned. There were several different site plans that were included in your packet. I can just walk through those very generically. If there's specific questions, I might ask the representative from the developer to come up. So the improvements along Poyntz Avenue, part of it is making that streetscape mirror kind of what's further down to the east. So there would be one lane that is going eastbound and then some diagonal parking that would be in front of the new Hartford building. There's also, let me scroll down. So also part of that public improvement That's along Poyntz, is for the streetscape to look more like we think of Poyntz Avenue, closer to or further towards the historic downtown. So there would be a curb extension here, which includes an outdoor dining patio. There will be tree wells along the sidewalk that have overstory trees, sidewalk improvements there, some landscaping beds. And going further, so we're now just, here's 8th Street, here's Houston, so we're just south of the alley. There's diagonal parking on 8th Street. I will note that all the parking that's included in this would be open to the public. The owner of the property doesn't get to sign this for their residents or patrons. And part of the improvements along Houston would be relocating the sidewalk and then improving the ADA ramps at the corner. And then lastly, when we look at landscaping, let me zoom back in. So you can see with the hexagons up here, those represent overstory trees. You can see that there's going to be landscape beds like we see further east on Poyntz. And then looking down at the parking lot, this was an item that the neighborhood had expressed some concerns with, of making sure that we can block out some of the lights from any headlights. And so the developers actually have gone above and beyond what we would require in the MDC for landscape screening. One of the reasons the sidewalk is kind of shifted further to the south and being rebuilt is because that landscape screening that is being provided is slightly into the right-of-way. The developer still will be responsible for maintaining it, but they've made that a little bit denser than what we would typically see. And then the same thing over on the west side of the property along 8th Street. There is landscape plantings there to help knock down any headlight glare. Additionally, you can see all the overstory trees that will be planted within the parking lot itself. So over time, it'll have a nice tree canopy. The development agreement does outline that all of the improvements that are made within right-of-way, that those will be owned by the city. However, the landscaping, there's a rock wall that is around that outdoor patio. That right here, that will be maintained by the property owner, by the Hartford. And then there's a couple of steps that are over here on the west side of the building that just help with the topography of that site. Those steps would also be maintained by the Hartford, so the city wouldn't be responsible for those.
Stephanie?
Yes.
How do you get into the parking lot?
Through the alley.
Okay.
So the entrance is right here. So there is the city would participate in up to 50% of the public improvements with a not to exceed amount of $200,000. It's recommended that dollar amount be paid for from the 70% from the 2023 sales tax. That 70% was for public infrastructure. With that, I will stop and see if there's any questions from the commissioners or if there's anything that you would like to hear from the developer that's here with us this evening.
Stephanie, in the upper right there on that entrance to Poyntz from the parking lot,
Yes.
is that a bulb out, or is that just going to be painted right there at that corner?
That is just paint.
Okay.
Stephanie, I seem to remember that the neighborhood had some concerns about the parking on 8th Street. What I'm not remembering is whether that was fully resolved during the neighborhood meetings that were held.
I will have to defer to Public Works. Brian's here. Okay. He said he hasn't heard anything about that.
The concern was the diagonal parking and safety for cyclists driving down 8th Street.
We haven't heard anything from the neighborhood. I don't know if you guys have either. Okay. So we haven't heard anything from them since then.
I think it was amicably resolved, but I'm blanking on the exact discussion.
Okay.
The neighborhood, did they get to see the plans for the landscaping to block the lights? I'm kind of looking at Brayson, don't you? Yeah, there we go.
Brayson's been our liaison with the neighborhood, and so he's done a fantastic job of being an intermediary. So I believe that they've seen it and are comfortable with it.
That sounds good. I mean, I don't see a lot of neighbors other than Brayson here, so I think that's probably a good sign that
Yeah.
they're comfortable with it. Okay.
Anything else?
What's the price tag here?
So not to exceed 200,000 for the public improvements. It's a 50-50 split, or up to a 50-50 split.
And what other enticements have we given them?
The commission approved back in, I think it was in October, the property tax abatement that's performance-based, as well as the sales tax exemption.
So it'll be a TIF, sort of?
No,
No.
it's a property tax abatement, but
They'll only pay what's there, or?
they'll pay what the existing property tax is, and then for 10 years it would be abated, but that's based on performance. So they have to make a total investment of, I think it was 15 million, and then they would also have to have a certain percentage of the commercial space occupied in order to receive the full abatement.
And how do people get to the bank? Drive-up window?
Yes, so you would come through the alley. Can I go back up? You would come through the alley, and then you would be able to go right here. So the drive-up window is in this vicinity, and then you would only be able to turn right onto Poyntz when you leave.
What's our estimated date of completion? Not to put you on the spot, but
Do you wanna go-
The goal is to have heads in beds by May of 2026. So as long as it stops raining and we can get a shovel on the ground
Yeah.
and start some footings pretty quick.
I mean, overall, I know we'll do public comment, but I think this is a good use, as Karen said, public and private improvements, and I'm excited about this.
Public input?
I make a motion that, to authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute a development agreement for public infrastructure improvements along Poyntz Avenue, 8th Street, and Houston Street with Hartford LLC, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute a restrictive covenant for landscaping and landscaping maintenance.
Second,
It's moved and seconded. Brenda, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Opel? Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Motta?
yes.
Commissioner Minton?
yes.
Mayor McCullough?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Next thing on our agenda is an executive session. We have two, so we better make these separate. We are recessing into executive session to discuss the terms of agreement between the city and Local 2275 International Association of Firefighters that need to remain confident. Pursuant to the exception set forth in K.S.A. 75-431-9, B3, related to employer-employee negotiations, and to resume in an open meeting at, it's 6:30, what do you think? 6:40,
6:40 would be fine, 10 minutes is fine.
okay, 6:40. Do I hear a motion? So,
Yes, I move that we go into executive session at 6:28 to resume at 6:40.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
you
I
read the
I think you have to
motion?
read that, sorry.
Oh,
I should have said
It's
so
okay.
moved.
I move that we recess into executive session to discuss the terms of the agreement between City Administration and Local 2275, the International Association of Firefighters, that presently need to remain confidential pursuant to the exception set forth in K.S.A. 75-4319B3 related to employer-employee negotiations, and to resume the open meeting at 6:40 p.m. in the City Commission room.
Second.
Moved and seconded, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Motta?
Yes.
Commissioner Minton?
Yes.
Mayor McCullough?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk?
Yes.
Commissioner Opelt. Motion carries 5-0.
Is Peter going to be able?
Yes, he can call in.
Do we need a motion to come out of executive session? No, okay.
Okay,
Um,
oh, I can make the motion.
We don't need one to come out.
No, to recess.
Yeah, okay, I would entertain one to go back in.
I move we recess into executive session to discuss the performance of the city manager pursuant to the exception set forth in KSA 75-4319B1, allowing for discussion of personnel matters of non-elected personnel, and to resume the open meeting at 6:50 PM in the city commission room.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Would you call the roll, Brenda?
Commissioner Minton,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Opelt,
Oh, he's.
okay, Commissioner Motta.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. You have a statement to make?
No binding action was taken during the executive session, therefore no vote in the open meeting is needed. Now we need to adjourn.
Yes. I move.
No, we're doing it a different,
Do you need the motion, Brenda, or no?
Yes, do the motion.
I move we adjourn
So
the
we always-
meeting.
Yeah, but we can just do a voice
oh,
vote.
that's right, we're doing no. Yes, do I hear a second?
Second?
Okay, everybody in favor say no. Or yes.
What?
Say aye.
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 Aye.